This is Drinkers Chasers, a podcast led by the critical drinker, Mr. Drinker himself. Uh, he is known for his terrible media takes. So basically, he is in this niche of people who want to have takes on movies without actually watching movies. Not me. I'm not much of a movie head. I don't watch a lot of movies, so I don't really have a lot of takes on movies. But I'm not so full of myself to where I'm like, I gotta have a take on everything. I'm gonna have a take on what I'm educated on, to be frankly. But anyways, I got this pulled up. Barbie sounds absolutely horrible. Now, the Barbie movie is currently doing very good in the box office. It's having a very good day. Sounds like a bunch of alcoholics. I don't know, man. But like, ooh, ooh, honestly, beer alcoholics, but not. I don't think they've had a sip of wine in their lives. Definitely beer alcoholics though. They like a little like fireball too. Anyways, let's stop waffling around and let's get into
It's
this.
just an absolute calamity. But speaking of which, the Barbie movie is upon us, and we've started to get reviews of it coming out, and
Hold
wow,
on.
because I've said before on Open Bar, right?
Hold
I
on.
had no idea what to expect from this film. I didn't know how, like, if it was going to make $1 billion or if it was going to absolutely flop, because there was really nothing to gauge it against. The trailers just made it seem like a happy clappy sort of kid-friendly comedy with
Oh
like
no.
lots of bright colors and stuff. Like there wasn't much given away there,
There we go.
and now it's out and people have had a chance.
There's a lot of movies to compare the Barbie movie to. Such as any family-oriented movie based on a property aimed towards young girls. Is his accent real? Yes, it is. It is a very real accent and it's very annoying to listen to. And we're gonna be listening to it for 17 minutes.
Chance to see it, and I'm hearing bad things about this movie. I know the warning signs were already there from the cast. They started giving interviews in the run up to this movie coming out, and you had absolute intellectual powerhouses like Simu Liu saying this movie's gonna like smash open the gates of gender norms.
Oh, that's
It's
right.
gonna redefine like what it is to be a man and a woman.
I don't know about that one. Assuming he's telling the truth here, which he probably isn't, I think that's a bit of an overstatement. I think that's a bit I think that's a bit dramatic.
It's gonna be a hardcore feminist movie, and I thought, well, okay.
Well, it's a Barbie movie. Of course it's going to be like telling young girls and be like empowering young women. It's a fucking Barbie movie. What do you expect? Of course it's going to be like a feminist movie. Ooh, feminism. So scary. Of course it's going to be a feminist movie.
Fine. Like, be interesting to see what they do with this, because Barbie, I guess, you would assume it would have to be some kind of feminist movie, and that's fine. Like, it's pro girls. It's pro, like, you can do whatever you want and be whatever you want. I guess that was the ethos of what Barbie always represented. So it seemed like it was just going to be a fairly easygoing comedy with generic sort of female empowerment stuff in it.
But then
And then now
I knew
that it's
it. I knew
out,
it.
I've started to hear some stuff that it doesn't sound good. I can give you a brief summary as I understand the plot.
Can I? I mean, you could, but you also. What's your source on that? 'Cause the plot is on Wikipedia, pretty well summarized in terms of what you get in this film. And from what I've seen of different people posting tweets and all that, I was like, oh, I guess some people are real pissed at this Barbie movie. But I thought we were dealing with a fun movie that takes plastic dolls and puts them into a real world, and you get some wacky scenarios and visuals and jokes. I had no idea we were heading for what, like, to give you an idea, right? This is the opening premise statement of the film, which I seriously, I had no idea this is what we're aiming for, but it says, stereotypical Barbie and a wide range of fellow Barbies all reside in Barbie land. It's like, all right, good start. A matriarchal society where all women are self-confident, self-sufficient, and successful, while their Ken counterparts spend the days engaging in recreation activities at the beach. The Barbies hold all important job positions such as doctors, lawyers, and politicians.
This is how Barbie has always been. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Barbie has always been like a matriarchal. Like Barbie universe, the Barbie cinematic universe, has always been like a matriarchal, or I don't know, matriarchal society that is led almost entirely, if not entirely, by women. I'm like 50% sure.
That's the opening premise.
That is not, yeah, that is correct in terms of what this film presents to you. So
how dare a movie targeted towards young girls show women in multiple roles of power? How dare they? How dare they? Women, kitchen. Sorry, it's where you belong.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so Barbie Land is a matriarchal society. So as Muller described there, the Barbies are the ones in charge. The Kens are just kind of looked down on as being a bit silly and like they're not to be taken seriously. They're just something to look at, I suppose. Kind of like, I don't know, this sort of
I'm a bit silly and not to be taken seriously.
stereotypical view of women in the 1950s or 1940s or something like that. Barbie and Ken then go into the real world, which is a horribly misogynistic place, like
True, it is that. Great analysis.
stereotypically over the top. Like men are just walking down the street slapping women's asses.
Oh my god.
Oh. That's the Barbie producers here phoning you saying, "Don't take part in this."
That's the open bar noise to remind you to drink. That's what that is.
But yeah. Oh, there we go. But they go into the real world. Ken discovers the patriarchy and says, "Yeah, I want to be part of this." And so he brings that patriarchal infection back to Barbie Land with him. And the Kens take over. They become like the rulers of Barbie world. With Ken himself as like the leader of them, and the Barbies are subservient to him, and they have to use the power of feminism to overthrow this patriarchal rulership.
Notice how he spends like all the time in the world like trying to dunk on a matriarchal society, but he says nothing bad about the patriarchal society that is created in the plot of the film.
Barbie world.
If it wasn't for
restore things back to the correct way where women are in charge.
If it wasn't for the last minutes of using the power of feminism, the Ken taking over Barbie Land sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing. Like you could absolutely frame this as Barbie being the antagonist of the movie, and Ken's just like this guy who wants equal rights for his oppressed minority there. But you know the thing
is, if Ken were to make an equal opportunity society, you could say this. It could be like Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, to where she starts the movie as a total dick, and then as the movie goes on, gets better and has like values. It could be like that. If the movie were about Ken, starting an uprising, starting a equal opportunity revolution, this would be a perfectly fine criticism, I think. However, it's about Ken creating his own patriarchal society, so the criticism just kind of falls flat on its face.
It ends with the Barbies reasserting control and deciding they're going to restructure their society. And so the question is, well, what's to become of the Kens? Because they feel very hard done by in all this. And shall we make things equal? And I kid you not, Barbie says, no, we're not going to make it equal. Not until things are equal in the real world.
That's kind of cringe. I mean, like she's correct. It's just kind of cringe. I think it's mostly because of the way he's delivering it. I don't think she actually says that. But the way he's delivering it makes it sound kind of cringe, and I'm sure that's on purpose.
What? Oh my god.
So
My
the men in the Barbie world will have equal rights once women in the real world have equal rights.
Hey, that sounds like a good trade-off to me. Both people get equal rights. I don't see anything wrong with this trade-off. It might just be me. I don't know.
That's
Like-
the movie right there.
I thought
My
Oppenheimer
first,
was supposed to be the horror.
When I saw that Kate McKinnon was in this, that was my first like hearing the Jaws theme music a little bit, that there might be something off. But I actually think the premise is really good if you just done it with a lighter touch. If you had the idea that Barbie has to go through a journey where she becomes less of a bimbo and more of a rounded character, and then Ken goes through a journey where he starts to revel in his power, and then things normalize and stabilize back at the end, that'd be a great story.
Yeah,
But
if
it
you
seems
can
like
get to a
they're just
point where
really
it's like,
heavy-handed
well,
with it.
yeah, it's like if they both recognize, hey, we both.
He literally just said the same thing I did earlier, but he said it in a misogynistic way, and I didn't. The way I said it didn't, wasn't explicitly designed to be like, grr, I hate women, but
both got things to bring to the table here. We're slightly different, but we've both got strengths and weaknesses. Let's all work together to make a better world. Okay, it's simple and it's cheesy, but okay, it works as a premise. This is like, no, women are just fundamentally better. They deserve to be in power. They might allow you to have a little bit of power if you prove that you're not going to misuse it, or that you're going to be, you'll stay in line. But that's the best you're going to get. And wow, I didn't think this movie was going to be so on the nose. I honestly thought it was just going to be this like light-hearted, like this was.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the dog.
Was a piece of marketing genius. The marketing people behind this really understood how to keep the mask on.
Yeah, I think it's going to get us demonetized here. Smoking,
This is like the opposite of a lot
I like how his bullshit is so smelly that it fucking woke the dog up.
of modern trailers where they throw in like a line and you're like, oh, what the fuck, what's this film going to be about? Then you watch the film and that one line is the only line of that line's kind in the whole thing. And you're like, why'd you put that in the fucking trailer? This seems to be the reverse, where they didn't put any of this in the trailers. I didn't believe this. When people tweeted that this was what the film was about, I was like, yeah, okay, that would be funny. And then people were like, no, that's real. And I was like, how could this be real? Why would they make the story about this?
They must have said to the actors and stuff like, right, shut the fuck up. Don't say anything about the feminist stuff. Just like, smile and look pretty and stuff. We're gonna do our marketing whiz on this, and we're gonna just spin it as a light-hearted comedy that's not politically tinged at all. And it worked. It really worked, and it fooled so many people leading up to this film because nobody knew what it was going to be about. And now it seems like the mask is off and there's no hiding it now. They obviously have to let people see it for what it is. And wow, I just think if this is as it's described, it's going to be the most divisive, mean-spirited, incendiary movie that you could ask for in a situation like this.
Not really. I think millennials are gonna love it. Young girls are gonna love it. Families are gonna like it. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a pretty universally liked piece of media by its intended audience. Methinks.
And it didn't need to be like that. You could have done something just so much easier and so much nicer for people.
Well, you could tell.
Talked about.
Well, you could tell from you could tell not from the trailer, but from the first headlines that started coming out from the critics, like this is a feminist manifesto, a master's degree.
He makes this movie sound based. Honestly, yeah. I want to watch this movie now. I'd be very interested in seeing what a matriarchal society looks like, especially one led by Barbie.
But then when you look at it, you're talking about a product that's been around, what is it? Barbie has been around 50 to 75 years. Instead of catering something specifically to kids, you now have Margot Robbie following that same glide path that most of these actresses do. They start out as sex stars, Wolf of Wall Street, Harley Quinn, and now she's transitioning with the rest of the cast into kind of like the hairy underarm Jane Fonda talking about capitalism. But what is Barbie? I mean, when I was reading about it and looking at it, I was like, this is just a software update for Gen Z. We got to fix a few of these glitches in the operating system. So anytime.
What's wrong with improving things? Like, these are the same people that got mad over the potato head thing, when literally that's just free market stuff. That's just free market capitalism at work. It saves Hasbro money to print Potato Head more than it does just to print Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. Simple as that. And they got super mad about it. What is wrong with free market capitalism? It's improving the products we consume. Free market capitalism looks pretty good to me. It doesn't, but I'm kind of straw manning here, I guess.
Time that they go out to pick up a pint and they use the wrong pronoun, someone could say, hey, get your reality in check. Go watch Barbie. I mean, I don't think it's going to be...
Dude, that's such a great quote. Get your reality in check. Go watch Barbie. I need to use that. That's a great quote. All time, W quote.
I don't think this is going to succeed.
I mean, I think it's going to have a massive opening weekend because people have been duped into watching this, and so they will go see it. If it's as divisive as it seems to be, I think it'll fall off a cliff after that. Because
does anyone want to know what the? Sorry.
No, go, man.
I was just going to say, does anyone want to know what the opening weekend projections are for both Barbie and Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Oppenheimer is 50 million and Barbie is 110.
Yeah.
More than double Oppenheimer.
What?
Well, yeah. Barbie's audience is double. Oppenheimer's intended audience is just kind of guys who are 40 and history buffs, which is a lot of them, but it's not as big of an audience as young girls, teenage girls, women, young women, middle-aged women, millennial women, older women looking for nostalgia. It is they're the ideal audience for Barbie is probably 70% of the human population, if you including women and families. It's at least 70% of the population, right? And even cutting it down to families with girls, that's gotta be 70% of the population. I mean, one of them appeals to maybe 20% of Americans, and the other appeals to a lot more. So it makes sense.
Well,
World are we living in?
I mean, Chris Nolan knew that was coming. He wouldn't make it R-rated and 3 hours long if he wanted to have mass appeal.
Yeah.
Plus, it's hard to find any theaters. I have to go to San Antonio to see it in the true 70 millimeter because I think there are only 33 of them around. Because he said, if you really want to see it, you have to see it in the 70 millimeter IMAX. It's
I've been hearing good things about it.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I mean, yeah, I know which movie I'd rather watch, but it is tragic to think that this abomination is gonna potentially eclipse Oppenheimer.
Not really. One has a wider market, free market capitalism, baby.
It's kind of jarring because something like this in Barbie, which is kind of high concept and has this big meta idea, that involves striking a
That dog dead. I'm worried at this point.
particular register of satire that everyone can kind of buy into, which is kind of sophisticated. But then if you undermine that by having really super heavy-handed messaging that goes in with it, then you disrupt all of that. So it's kind of all over the place.
I don't know why they would think to do that. It's like this movie was made in 2017 or something, when we hadn't progressed beyond this point of really hardcore, abrasive, mean-spirited sort of feminist messaging that men are shit and women are.
Speaking of abrasive, hardcore, Meninist messaging, You know? You know? The pot calling the kettle black.
Are awesome, and they just need to like move aside and make way. Like that
Except the kettle is like a decently made movie.
that has come and gone, and it just feels like such a weird product of a different time if that's the case.
You don't think it fits right in with Disney's, like, you know, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Indiana Jones cucking Indiana Jones with another sexist co-star?
But look how that movie's done.
Right, but I'm saying it's almost like an invitation to the culture war. That's how I view Barbie. Like, come on in.
Indiana Jones did poorly because nobody cares about Indiana Jones except for dying old men. Oh shit.
I mean, they missed the opportunity to have like what could have been a really fun movie that was just about, because apparently at some point, right, they go from Barbie Land to the real world. It's like, oh, that just sounds like a movie that came out in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where all it's just fish out of water humor, and then the Mattel CEO tries to kidnap them because he doesn't want them to be found or whatever, that the real toys are based on that. It's like, you can create loads of fun action and nonsense. The Barbie world thing looks insane, just like as a place. And it's like, if they're all very self-aware and just having fun, it could have been something that I would maybe have seen and tolerated. But
wait,
now
remember,
like,
well, I don't know if you've ever saw it, but there was the movie Enchanted, right, that had Amy Adams in it.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, it played on the similar idea of like, okay, well, you take a princess out of fantasy land and put her in the real world. Like, how's she going to cope with that? And like, how's it going to gradually, like, you know, morph her?
Oh fuck.
That movie is just an absolute calamity.
Oh fuck. Oh shit. Oh no. Was I here?
Whatever that the real toys are based on that. I was like, you can create loads of fun action and nonsense.
I'll just
the
say
Barbie
I was...
world thing looks insane, just like as a place. And it's like, if they're all very self-aware and just having fun, it could have been something that I would maybe have seen and tolerated. But
wait,
now...
right, that had a princess out of fantasy land and put her in the real world. Like, how's she going to cope with that? And like, how's it going to gradually, like, you know, morph her into a more realistic human being? That's not bad. I mean, it's not exactly complicated, but it's something you can work with. This just seems like, ooh, I don't know. It's just an excuse to let the patriarchy in, because, like, you know, it's everywhere apparently. Like, from what I understand,
Yes, patriarchal structures are everywhere. They're right here, in fact.
The film's depiction of the real world is like this. It's the way a fourth wave feminist would view the world.
What's wrong with fourth wave feminism? It's literally all fourth wave feminism is. It's just like, hey guys, we should acknowledge the patriarchal structures in the world and the inherent misogyny of the way that the world is built right now, and we should work to improve that for equal rights and equal opportunity. Nothing wrong there, I think.
Men are just constantly leering after women, like absolutely disrespect.
I mean, yeah.
Them at every opportunity.
Catcalling.
Exactly, yeah, and it's just it's a hyper exaggerated version of what the actual world is, but that's like how they see.
Okay, let me give an anecdote. On 2 occasions, I have talked to people at a concert, and they just so happen to be women or non-binary femme presenting. Both times I've talked to them, they have had a poor story of that night. I was at a concert and this woman told me she apologized to me because she said, sorry if I came off as rude. There was a guy touching me earlier and it just had me really on edge. And that story, again, happened very similarly a time before. And both times I was like, holy shit, I'm so sorry. But, you know, let's not acknowledge the terrible way that the world has been built socially.
See it, and so that's the enemy that has to be striven against. That's the infection that gets into this blissful paradise of Barbie world.
So the conclusion of the film is that until in our reality feminism equals parity, you've essentially got a mass amount of Kens who are under a kind of house arrest in perpetuity until that happens.
Well, the Kens revolt apparently at one point in the movie, but then they get kicked
Put
back
down.
down.
Yeah, because I think
well,
one
that's
line.
what I'm saying. Yeah, like they get defeated by the end. But it's funny because like there's a moment in the film apparently where Barbie and Ken have gone into the real world, and someone asks Ken for the time. It's just like, what time is it? And he's so excited because someone's finally asking him for information, and they're gonna listen to him. And I thought
That's pretty funny.
that's not an antagonist. That's like an absolutely oppressed like protagonist. You know, trying to get away from the shackles of this horrifying dictatorship that he's been living under.
Yeah, he's
Why are we
discovering his
supposed to-
agency.
Right.
Exactly, yeah. Like, why the fuck are we supposed to be rooting for Barbie and all this? Like, he seems like the hero of this story.
Well,
He's
it's-
supposed to be respected. Is that so bad? Apparently, it is if you're a fucking man.
Okay, I got a DM about Enchanted. It says he's missing the point. In Enchanted, it's a literal forest princess who goes into the real world. In Barbie, it's a woman with literally every job in the world going into the real world. I haven't watched Enchanted. I haven't watched either of these movies, so I'm just gonna trust this analysis.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there was a line that they said the president in Barbie in this film was asked, in the movie, she's asked, what are Kens? Oh, they're just an accessory.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much the line.
What I wanted to see was fucking middle-aged, overweight, alcoholic recruitment consultant Barbie that's single and like depressed about her life. Yeah, that's the one I wanted to see, but we're never going to see that apparently.
Kathleen Kennedy, Barbie.
Yeah, but she's rich.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's like the Anita Sarkeesian wet dream, pretty much. It's come true.
You
for
know,
us.
No, they're still bringing her up. Dude, it's been like fucking 5-6 years. Let her go.
I've seen a bunch of people making that joke, like, take a shot every time they say
Is she even on the internet anymore?
patriarchy and you'll die. I'm
No.
very tempted
Yeah.
to test that out. I feel like that would be fun. I might make
sounds
Drink
like a
do it at some
challenge.
point.
I got a whole bottle of gin just ready to go.
I have a question. So Barbie won't let the Kens go free unless she has like feminism take over the real world. Is she going to go to the Middle East and like just feminize everyone, or how's that going to work?
That would be kind of based. That'd be kind of based if she did that. She should do that.
They'll never talk about that,
Will she
will
do
they?
it with guns, or like how oppressive will she be? Will it be like a communist dictatorship, or
That'd be based. Communist Middle East. Based. So you have like the most oil-rich area, and it's a communist. That'd be based.
They'll get a free pass mysteriously, or they won't exist in this world.
there's only
because we can't-
America?
Yeah, exactly. We can't criticize anyone else.
Bob,
Pot calls the kettle black for being Eurocentric.
we land in America. Makes
But
sense.
yeah, I think when I hear stuff like this, and I think how just really mean-spirited this movie seems, and how like spiteful and aggressive it comes across, I just think this is going to absolutely crater after its first weekend. I think it's going to sucker a lot of people in because there does seem to be genuinely a lot of people who are excited to watch this. I don't know why. I don't know what they're expecting to see here, but there seems to be. Like, maybe it's just like a bunch of middle-aged women who played with Barbie dolls when they were kids and they just want to see this. But yeah, once they realize what it actually is, I would assume it's going to drop off pretty sharply.
Okay. That wasn't very entertaining. Ooh, look at this.